Om Namah Shivaya, Om Matreya Namaha. I bow down to the divinity in you. Welcome back to our weekly Sangha that happens every Thursday from 8 to 9:15 p.m. The time has been extended slightly because if people want to ask me questions and you want me to answer them, I should give some time towards that as well. So today we are going to understand the sutra number 16, in fact, 16th sutra of Shiva Sutras, which says, Shuddha Tattva Sandhane Dwapara Pashu Shakti. Shuddha Vidya Sandhane Dwapa Pashu Shakti. Now let's understand this sutra, but what is Shiva Sutras exactly? That we may understand first. So Kashmir Shaivism says that if we want to release ourselves from any bondages that we are suffering from, these bondages known as malas or chains have to be broken by upayas or means per se. These upayas or means in total are 112, which are notified in a very, very ancient text known as Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. 112 plus 1, as we always say. Plus 1 because Shiva just hints at the end of Vijnana Bhairava Tantra one technique that will comprise all the techniques. But Shiva Sutras is a very, very sacred text because the writer Vasugupta, who was a devote of Lord Shiva himself, was sleeping one night, and in his sleep, Shiva gave an appearance and told him to go and take a walk under the Mahadev mountain, which is very, very near to Srinagar, I believe. Walk under the Mahadev mountain. There is a stream right there. You should take a walk over there, and one rock, when you go past it, will overturn. And Shiva says to Vasugupta in that dream that those are my sutras written down underneath that rock. So these 112 upayas are firstly segregated in 3 numbers. One known as Shambhavopaya, or the way of Shiva itself. One known as Shaktopaya, or way of Shakti herself. And then way of Anuvopaya, or the way of the atomic little individual that you and me are. So we are reading from the first chapter. We are continuing the reading from the first chapter, and anybody can join in, even if you are brand new, to read these sutras with us, because each and every sutra is like a seed sown into you. Maybe it will fructify right now in this class itself, or maybe it will fructify years later. Who knows? Being a seed, it may turn into a tree and give you fruit someday or the other. So this 16th sutra is very, very important to understand step by step firstly. Shuddha Tattva Sandhana Dwapa Pashu Shakti. Now what is Shuddha Tattva? Let's understand that first. Shuddha Tattva, the word itself represents the concept of pure, unconditioned reality or pure consciousness itself. Pure consciousness is like a crystal shining very, very brightly. It does not take on colors. Like if you have a glass of clean water and if you put a drop of ink inside, the water takes on color of the ink itself. Pure consciousness is not like that. It is unconditioned. Whatever it sees or whatever it shows as well is unconditioned in nature. There is no duality in that. And that Shuddha Tattva, this word itself, that is known as Shiva Tattva in Kashmir Shaivism or Trika Tantra, it signifies the ultimate unchanging truth that underlies all of the existence. And pure consciousness underlies all of this existence itself. This consciousness prevails in everything in an unconditioned way. It does not require any kind of support to make itself present. Consciousness is in everything. And that consciousness, that pure state of consciousness in Kashmir Shaivism or Trika Tantra is known as Shiva himself. The journey of spiritual awakening involves realizing that Shiva Tattva or that pure existence, pure consciousness itself, and merging with this reality of that pure consciousness. That pure consciousness is everywhere. Without any duality being present, this pure consciousness is everywhere. The next word after Shuddha Tattva is Sandhani or Sandhana also. The process of Sandhana means the process of uniting. Sandhana refers to the process of uniting or merging, as we call it. See, you are a limited human being who is known as a Jiva. What happens when you merge with this pure consciousness known as Shiva himself? The entire Sandhana or this merging process signifies the spiritual practice or journey of reuniting this individual consciousness with this universal consciousness. The pure unconditioned reality, as I said before. Sandhana involves various yogic and meditative practices. Yoga is not only about asana, pranayama as we know of it, but it's also about dharana and dhyana. Dharana means the technique, and dhyana is the absorption into that absolute itself. And these yogic and meditative practices, which are given by Shaivism or Trika Tantra, are aimed at dissolving our illusion of separation with that reality. We always feel that we are separate from Shiva. We are not one with Shiva. And that is one of the biggest illusions that we hold within ourselves. And that has to be destroyed completely. And for that, the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra and its 112 techniques and Shiva Sutras and their script and the sutras in the Shiva Sutras help us to get away from this feeling of separation from Lord Shiva himself. This feeling of separation itself is duality, that Shiva is different and I am different. This pure consciousness, my friends, is always inside of you. After that, the word comes Dwapa. Dwapa, the word itself means duality. The state of multiplicity, the perception of this separateness. This Dwapa word signifies the dualistic world of distinctions, opposites. Individual identities. We feel as if we are individual identities. None of us feel that we are one. We are that one pure consciousness flowing through different bodies itself. And that duality is the fundamental aspect of our ignorance. It's also a fundamental aspect of our human experience and the conditioned mind that I am different than you. Shiva is different from me. I am not Shiva. You might have heard these words, Shivoham, Shivoham. But do you experience that I am Shiva, Shivoham, Shivoham. For that, we need to go to meditative practice and absorb in that and merge completely with that pure consciousness itself, which destroys the duality within us. And when this duality is destroyed, then what happens? Specific word has been used here called Pashu Shakti. Individual limited consciousness which makes you feel that you are separate and creates acts of violence within us. It signifies the state of that state which an individual is always identifying themselves with. I am identifying myself as Amitabh, and Arunima is identifying herself as Arunima, Medha is identifying herself as Medha, or all of you identifying yourself not as Shiva himself, but as separate individuals. And this is an individual ego, no? This separateness, not feeling oneness within all of us, is individual ego, which creates desires and which creates limitations, self-doubt within us. And in this state, we all experience ourselves separate from this pure reality, and we are bound by the illusion of duality. And this illusion of duality makes us and turns us into a kind of an animal, don't you think? Pashu, an animal. Then we have these animalistic desires that this is mine, that person can't take this from me, that is mine, this is mine, that is mine, I like this, I don't like this. These likes, dislikes, this separateness, and I will do things the certain way and I'm not good at this and I'm good at this. All this duality is what we know as Pashu Shakti. Animalistic behavior. And this sense of separateness is the cause of violence in the entire world, for that matter. If I thought I'm one with you, what would happen? Let's say if you angered me for some reason, I get angry and I slap you. But who am I slapping? If this sense, because we have the sense of separateness, that's why we turn into acts of anger. But if we didn't have this separateness, then you will not hurt me, I will not hurt you. The acts of violence will cease to exist in this entire world. Thus the 16th Sutra, Shuddha Tattva Sandhana, Dwapa Pashu Shakti, carries a very profound meaning to understand that we are all one. We are all one in united consciousness. The ultimate goal of any spiritual practice, my friends, which is to unite or merge the limited, conditioned individual consciousness with the pure, unconditional consciousness. It suggests, this sutra also suggests that the true process of this life, the true purpose of this life is to transcend from this duality of separateness and realize oneness. Process of Sandhana is also very, very important. Kashmir Shaivism or Trika Tantra emphasizes on the importance of Sandhana, process of spiritual practice and self-realization. Also self-inquiry in a very big way. Whenever you are committing an act of violence against somebody, you get angry or jealous or fearful about something, and that causes separation with this pure consciousness for you. You have to go into a process of self-inquiry and ask yourself, If I am that pure consciousness, and if this person in front of me is also pure consciousness, and if we are one, then whom am I angry against? Who am I creating act of violence against? And this sandhana, to get to this sandhana, of course, self-inquiry is very important, but various techniques of Vijnana Bhairava Tantra and Shaivism and the disciplines that we follow, they are aimed at removing this ignorance, removing these wheels of illusion, and recognizing ourselves as that pure consciousness itself. Once we do that, the duality ends. And when the duality ends, that merging happens, you and that pure consciousness merge completely together. Sometimes little bit you'll merge. But when you merge completely together, then you have freedom from bondage itself. Pashu is always in bondage. Pashu in Pasha, as we call it, represents the bondage and the limitations that we individuals experience when we are identifying with our egos. The spiritual journey you are about to take involves breaking free from these limitations and realizing your own true nature, which is pure consciousness itself. Nature of self-realization is also very important. Shuddha tattva sandhana dvapa pashu shakti says that self-realization is not a theoretical understanding, but a direct experience in the recognition of pure consciousness. It is the process of transcending the ego self and merging with the ultimate divine reality itself. That ends the explanation on this sutra.